Yes, this is the Southeastern Michigan Computer Organization. We're having a joint meeting with the Central Florida Computer Society. I hope I said that right. And Michael Rusis, our SIG computing chairman, is here. And before I pass it over to him, does anybody have any questions they would like to ask?
Yes, I have a question actually left over from last week, if you don't mind.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, first of all, both of the sessions that I attended the last time were terrific. Really enjoyed them, but one of them shook me up just a little bit, Huey. You talked about Windows 10X, which would be coming out apparently fairly soon. And one of the things you indicated is that it would no longer accommodate the 32-bit programs, I believe is what was said. And I'm thinking, gosh, I have a couple of computers and old versions of Windows, and I believe they are 32-bit. So does that mean that my old Office will not run on 10X, and maybe I should hold off until, I think you said there was another evolution of the product that would then allow those 32-bit programs to be run. So I'm thinking as it comes out, maybe I shouldn't upgrade to 10X.
10X may not be an upgrade for you.
Yeah.
Well,
It's actually
yeah. So Stephen, let me chime in.
Sure.
So I am a long-time Unix/Linux user, and whenever that happens, where the Windows or other proprietary system goes out of support, I repurpose those machines and I install Linux on them, and they run even faster. And all of my old Office files, documents, spreadsheet, I can use LibreOffice to read them and maintain them and update any content of them. So I would say, don't wait for the next evolution of Windows. It may not help, but repurpose those and pop in Linux.
Huey?
Yeah, one of the things, I understand that the old adage is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So all of my, programs work just fine, but they may not work with 10X. But then from what I understand, that there would be another revision that would then allow those 32-bit programs to run, but they just wouldn't be run, they couldn't run initially with 10X. I don't know if I want to go to Linux or a whole new system just for that, but I appreciate
Just stay with the regular Windows 10. You don't have to go to 10X. You'll have a choice when you buy a machine, whether it's going to have 10X or it's going to have Windows 10.
Right. So, well, I don't need to upgrade. I can just stick with what I've got, and I just have to be careful not to upgrade so I can, unless I want to get a whole new suite of Office Professional and go through that routine.
But it would be a good idea to back up all your important documents.
Of course, yes.
I see Bob has something to say.
Yeah, 10X is not an upgrade of Windows. 10X is Windows answer to a Chromebook. Okay, because in essence, that's what it is. It's Windows answer in a competition to Chromebooks.
Okay.
That's also why it won't support 32-bit, because Chromebooks are all 64-bit. And it'll be running something similar to the Chrome operating system, Windows version of it. It is not a Windows computer.
That's why it's not really an upgrade.
Gotcha. So I wouldn't need it anyway, apparently. So.
Yeah.
And in that case, I would avoid it completely. There's no need to downgrade to a Chromebook equivalent when you got a full working version of Windows.
That's a great discussion there. We got another 5 minutes before we start our main presentation. Are there any other questions from our SEMCO members that they'd like to ask?
Well,
Renee has a question.
Yeah, I missed that APUG meeting that was on the 31st, the presentation on backing up. Is there some place where I can still view that?
Yeah, it'll be posted on the APCUG website in the near future. A
Okay.
link will go to those people who were in attendance, and they'll get to see it first, and then it will be posted on the APCUG website.
Okay, I think I registered for it, but I wasn't able to attend.
APCUG does have a video channel on YouTube, and there is a link to it from my website if you don't know where it is and can't find it. And if a lot of almost all of the VTC as well as workshop meetings have been posted there as they become available. They do editing and so on. So sometimes it takes a little bit of time for them to get up there.
Thanks. That's good news. And I think a reminder for everyone that if you miss something, be patient. It'll show up sooner or later on the website.
I think what we'll do now, though, is I will introduce Michael Rusis, who is our SIG computing chairman, and see if he has any announcements to make. Michael, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me? Hang on.
Yep, we hear you fine.
Oh, okay, making sure. Thank you. Nothing really to announce right now, except that we've got an upcoming presentation right about now on Evernote from Huey Poplock. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I put my tongue on sideways this morning. It's been kind of turning around ever since. But I think I got it right the second time. Thank you. Evernote is a note-taking application on steroids, and we'll learn more about it shortly, I'm sure.
I've used Evernote for years, and it has amazing search capabilities. But I'm sure Howie will talk about that. And he might even talk about how many notes he has, and being able to find stuff in that many notes will really make you know for certain that the search capabilities are good.
I'll show you a tool to use that's free. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, I'll share my screen once again. And I use a program, I'll minimize this. I use a program called Everything. I'll bring it up and I'll show you in the help here about everything. And this is where, and I'll put this in the chat box. Let's see, can I just, I guess I got to click on it. Hang on, let me just grab this, Control C. And I'll throw it in the chat box. Everyone. Okay, it's in the chat box, so you can see it. So this is Everything, is a program called Everything, and my entire computer is on here. And you say, well, does it take a long time? Every time I start my computer up, this is instantly available. So let's say I wanted to find, what do I have on SEMCO? Bingo, I just typed in SEMCO, and here are all the things that I have on my computer. And it's on any of my drives, anything that's connected, including my OneDrive, because that's connected here. CFCS, bingo, everything's CF. There's going to be a lot of stuff because I've been a member of CFCS for a while. You can see as I scroll down here really quickly, you can see, and it shows me where all this information is. So here's a board of directors meeting from 2000 and let's see, what's the date of that? 2010. There's a meeting from also, let's see, 2012, 10, 01. So that would have been 2001. Oh, it goes back as far as I have anything on my computer, and anything is connected to my computer that I have listed in here. I love this program because you see how fast this search is. It's even faster than Evernote's. And anything that I want, if I want, okay, I've got a logo out there And you can see it popped up because I'm sorting by date right now, but if I sorted by name or I sorted by the path, it puts everything together. And then I can find something, let's say, let's come down here and just find a particular article or your picture. Okay, here's one. I have no idea what this is, but I can right mouse click and let's see, that's not what I want to do.
And then when you find something, can you then drag it into Evernote and edit it in Evernote?
No, what you can do though is you can open it and then save it to Evernote, copy it, or open up Evernote and add it to an Evernote because you know where it is. Because this tells you where it is as well. If you sort by or refresh, but there is a way here. Is yeah, open path. When I open the path, it takes me to the folder where that is.
So
So
if
then
if you're limited in the free version to a certain file size, can you then use the Evernote as a utility and then save those files to your hard drive for the sake of storage and then delete it from your Evernote cloud account?
well, it's not going to say if it's larger than the size, it won't save it. It won't let you save it.
No,
you're
I
limited
mean,
to the size of the document or the item by megabyte, or there's a total number of megabytes per month. Yeah, if I'm not sure if they add what you've done if you delete it. Does that subtract it, and can you add more to it? That I don't know.
that would be.
I'm guessing that if you add it and then take it out, it's still part of the number that you've used.
Yeah.
So then it's no longer a utility as such, but it's an app of limited size.
Yeah, but I think if you use the free version and find it useful enough, then I would suggest you go ahead and do the other, or try OneNote. OneNote's
The
free.
free version gives you enough space. I have the pay version, but the free version gives you a lot of space. So I wouldn't get too worried about running out of space in the free version unless you get to be as big as Rusis is Howie. I think you're going to be okay.
Yeah, Richard, I just wanted to remind everyone to pay attention. Other folks who raised their hand, they'd like a chance to chime in. I think, Bobji, you had your hand raised. Did you want to say something?
It's a desktop version of Evernote.
What about the desktop version?
There is a desktop version of Evernote. It's still supposed to store to your desktop.
I don't know whether it does or not. I would
Well,
imagine it does.
that's what it says in the description.
Okay. I won't go out there then.
So
Okay.
by saying there's a desktop version, then that means it'll store everything on your computer and not necessarily go to the cloud. The results will also be on your computer itself.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And I have a folder, and to get to it, I'm not sure. I have to really root around, and I don't want to do that right now. But I know it's gigabytes of storage that I have right now with 16,000 notes. But most people aren't going to need that much space.
I like to see Evernote store the Library of Congress. Just a thought, just a thought.
Okay, this still is the Windows SIG. So if anybody we can open it up to questions other than Evernote.
Yep.
We got about 12 minutes before we turn it over to Sharon and talk about Linux.
Yeah, so feel free, everyone, raise your hand, or if you have any Windows question, this is a good time. We got a lot of talent in the audience.
Steve Hall.
Yeah, I like that everything that you mentioned. Is that a free app?
Yes.
Easily available? Okay.
Yep. And,
And
and
free.
if you look in the chat box, I did put a link to where you can download it.
Ah, very good. Thank you.
It is a
Worth
Windows.
a lot
program.
more than what you pay for it, I'll tell you that much.
Mhm.
No other questions. I guess you all know everything.
I'd like to make a comment. SEMCO
Sure.
members, I will be sending out a link to the Google Forms for your evaluations. Please fill it out. The more evaluations we get, the better we can pick speakers for future meetings.
Okay,
Uh,
I'm going to stop the recording and then start it again. And that way we have two separate recordings. So hang on one second.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
One that just kind of toss out as a technical question. My computer, I mostly just let it sleep. I don't hardly ever turn it off. Every now and then, it reboots in its sleep. We've not lost power. You know, that would be my first thought, that we've lost that a power blink or something like that. It just resets on its own. Just starts and I end up with a startup screen again. If anybody's experienced that and has a thought, lay it on me.
Probably an update was done.
Yeah, Windows does that. It likes to do it like 3 in the morning in my case.
That'd be mine.
Yeah, if you'll notice in your settings in Windows, you have options of what's called busy time. I can't remember what they call busy
I
time.
know what they
or
are,
something.
right?
Yeah, and mine is from I think 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. And so outside of that is when it will update and reboot if it needs to.
Never even thought of that. Thank you. That's probably it.
You can also set a 7-day pause, which is a good idea before you go to a meeting like this.
I've noticed whenever you get an update from Microsoft that you go to it, returns to a specific screensaver, not the one that's being used normally and changes all the time.
Mine, what it does, it just goes up to the startup screen, just the normal thing that I have, which is it makes me okay the automatic re-up of my hardware. The same every time.
Can
Whoever-
Evernote be the data that you write in a note or some documents that you create in Evernote, can it be saved to Pages or Word?
I know you can copy and paste it, and I think you can also save it and you can print it. I'm not sure whether you can just save it, but I think you can send it out as a document, share it, so you can share it, throw it in an email, and you can copy the information that's in it. And I'm sure there's a way in which you could save it as an article if you needed to.
Stephanie has had her hand up for quite some time.
Oh, I'm sorry, Stephanie.
I have been getting updates that don't update they seem to be related to my hardware, which is the Dell PC, and graphics and stuff. And they seem to be part of Windows, but somehow related to my hardware. And I can't find who can tell me why they aren't updating, even though I leave the computer on at night and stuff like that.
Okay, let me kind of show you something here. And I hope it doesn't try to update while I do this. But I am going to here and go to settings and then come down here to updates and security.
Mhm.
And then come down here to where view update history.
Mhm.
And you can see what there's the update history, there's the feature updates, there's the quality updates, and these are drop down so you can close them off and see. These are the titles of the sections that you have: feature updates, quality updates, driver updates, definition updates, and other updates. And so if you click on, let's say, a quality update, and here's one from March, if you click on this, it will take you to a page and give you all the information about what it is.
I think Stephanie's question is that it did not reboot itself, even though she left her computer on. Not all updates will require or need a reboot.
Bob, it wasn't a reboot. It's a fact that I get the same messages again and again that an update is available. The messages are pretty vague as to whose update it is, but it appears to be one of them is a graphics thing and one of them is something else. And it just doesn't, for 2 weeks it hasn't done it, and I don't understand why.
Well, try rebooting it. Try rebooting it, and after you reboot, see if that message is still there.
And you might have to manually update it. If it's one of the, what do they call them? Selective.
Optional,
it's an option. Yeah, optional update. You have to tell it to do it. So you
I
would
have
do it.
told it to do it, and it doesn't do it, either immediately or later.
So you just try rebooting it and see if that update message is still there.
You may have to force the reboot, the update to go to Windows and say check for updates. And after you reboot, do that as the first thing you do.
It's Windows. Happiness is a reboot away.
How old is her hardware?
A year and a half.
Should work.
Sure.
Yep.
It's Windows 10. It's no reason it shouldn't work. And Dell's, major.
Is
company.
the update coming from Dell? Because you also, if you have a Dell computer, you have updates that come directly from Dell unless you turn that specifically off. If you didn't turn it off, then you also have updates coming directly from Dell. And it means you have to take an action when it comes up to update.
The problem,
Otherwise, it'll keep reminding you again and again and again until you do that update.
Well, I've tried. What I have here is it says Intel driver and support assistant. Updates available. You have 2 updates available. And then the day before it, you have 2 updates available. The day before, you have 2 updates available. And some of those nights I've had the computer off. And I click update software now and it does nothing.
It's because it's not coming from Windows, it's coming from Dell. So go to your Dell support and you'll find it in there.
Okay. All
There's
right.
also there's also an Intel update software, and so you may have to go to the Intel update to get that installed.
Well, yes, that's the problem. Is there 3 companies involved, and Intel is very hard to find how to do it. But anyway, Dell I can reach. It's not Microsoft I can reach. Yeah.
If it tells you anything about the update at all, copy or write down what that is and then put that in a search, and it should tell you about it, and it should tell you where or how you can do it.
Okay, I'll try that. Yeah. Thank you.
John,
I have an Intel driver and support assistant that I find on the internet that's offered by Intel, and it may be what you're looking for, and it may help you with your installation.
Okay.
John Kennedy had his hand up.
Yeah, I had a problem a long time ago that I kept getting something that told me I needed to update, and I knew I had updated. Turned out on my computer, they did not remove the old version. So I had an old version and a new version. So it would read, you got an old version, you need to update, but I still had the new one too. So that drove me crazy for a while because I knew I was updating the program, but there was still an old version there that it saw and said, hey, you need to update that.
I have found that running something like CC Cleaner before you try to update will sometimes solve a lot of problems.